Oh, Hilton, stay. Your beds are soft and cozy. No lumpy couch, no stiff futon, no shower line at crack of dawn. Oh, Hilton, stay. Oh, Hilton, stay.
When you want holiday comfort you can count on, it matters where you stay. Enjoy comfortable rooms and friendly service when you stay with Hilton instead. Save up to 25% this season when you book with Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Terms apply.
The Freddy Fazbear box just dropped at Popeyes for $7.99, and it's scary good. Garlic palm tenders and cheesy bites with marinara sauce. Upgrade to the deluxe box for $12.99 and get a 20-ounce drink in a cupcake cup. Dig in
before it's too late.
Try the Freddy Fazbear Crunch menu, now at Popeyes. See Five Nights at Freddy's 2, only in theaters. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Prices may vary.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast that will share the shivers with you no matter what the season. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, your resident medium and your teller of ghost stories. And it is cold out there. I'm not sure where you are listening from, but winter definitely feels like it's settling in, even though we haven't reached the solstice yet. So I thought tonight, to celebrate the cold weather, why not share with you tales of ghostly happenings during winter storms? And then after the spooky, stay for the spiritual. Join me again at my séance table for a message from the spirits. If you're new to the podcast, this is where I open up the space as a medium for a message to come through for someone listening. And since you're attending, this message could be for you. That's later on in the podcast. So let's get to those winter chills. Bundle up. The ghosts are here right now. That winter night, by the time I left the last gas station on the edge of town, snow was falling at a slant across my windshield, thick and frantic streaks. I should have stayed put, or booked a room, or called and canceled entirely. But I admit, I was stubborn and insisted that if I took it slow, I would be fine. Within minutes, the road disappeared in front of me in a blur of white. The sky, the fields, the asphalt, they all blended into the same shifting, colorless world. My headlights only illuminated the snow directly in front of me, and even then, just barely. About 10 minutes later, as I again questioned my judgment and my driving skills, the wind pushed against the car hard enough to make it wobble. That's when I saw it. At first, it looked like nothing more than odd movement in the snowfall ahead of me, a patch where the flakes weren't falling in the same direction as the rest. I thought maybe it was a torn piece of insulation from someone's barn or a plastic bag caught in the wind. But then, as I approached, the shape drifted to the center of my lane. Not blown, not thrown, drifted. Slow, deliberate, weightless. Even though I was still moving forward, the thing ahead of me hung just above the road, barely defined, keeping ahead of my pace. As I drove forward, my headlights had just enough light for me to make out its form. Upright, human-shaped, but subtly wrong. The edges weren't edges at all, just thinning places in the storm, as if the falling flakes were outlining something invisible. I told myself it was just exhaustion and bad visibility, but the air inside my car seemed to chill, as if the temperature were dropping from the inside out. My face and hands stung from the brutal pinch of the cold. The figure drifted backwards, keeping its distance, floating exactly at the edge of my high beams. Never closer, never farther away. I gripped my steering wheel until my knuckles hurt. Then, the wind shifted, and the figure lifted upwards, rising through the storm like a piece of ash carried by an updraft. And then it vanished into the curtain of white. I drove on, watching the empty road as my heater finally kicked back in and the cold on my skin warmed to something human again. I didn't look in the rearview mirror. I didn't stop until I reached the next town, hands trembling, thoughts not landing in proper order. The news later reported that the storm was the worst the county had seen in decades. Roads had closed behind me. A lot of cars slid into ditches. Every winter storm since then, I wonder if I really saw something. And if I had, was it there to warn me of danger or to cause the harm? I always keep my eye on the forecast now before I plan travel in the winter. I don't want to be stuck out in a storm, and certainly not with whatever that thing had been. I wasn't supposed to take the lake road during a storm, but it was a shortcut that would cut my travel time in half. I thought I was being smart to save the time instead of backtracking to the highway. With the plows nowhere in sight and the snow falling faster by the minute, waiting felt more dangerous than pushing on. The lake route was shorter, riskier, but shorter. By the time I reached the long curve that ran beside the frozen shoreline, visibility had collapsed into a narrow tunnel of swirling white against bruised blue. The lake on my left was completely hidden beneath the storm, just a wind-scoured void. I was inching along when my headlights caught something out on the ice. At first, it seemed like a strange shape in the storm, a denser shadow, but as the car crept closer, the shape held steady, human height. Someone was standing out on the lake. The figure faced away from me, unmoving despite the battering wind. Their coat or clothing blended with the storm, almost swallowed by it. Still, they remained unmistakably there, anchored in a place no one should have been. I slowed to a crawl, pulse pounding in my ears. Was the person stranded? Injured? Did they even know the danger beneath their feet? I reached for my phone, but the little signal bar said no service. When I looked back, the figure seemed farther out on the ice. They couldn't have walked there in the few seconds I had glanced away. A sinking chill began to spread through me, colder than the air seeping into the car. I leaned forward, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. A gust tore across the lake, harder than the rest, and in that violent sweep, the figure dissolved, fading into the storm so seamlessly that for a moment I wondered whether I had seen anything at all. By the time I reached town, I felt half panicked, half foolish, but I'd never forgive myself if I didn't follow through. My phone had a signal again, and after a moment of debate, I called the non-emergency line. I described what I had seen. The deputy listened and didn't say much. When my words faded out and I wasn't sure what else to say, they gave me the impression, in an impressively non-committal tone, that I wasn't the first to report locally such an incident on a stormy winter night. I was kind of speechless. Was I validated or just more confused than ever? The voice on the other line ended the conversation with the offered knowledge that the ice was too thin to hold anyone's weight this time of year, and that it couldn't have possibly been a living human being. Others had seen a figure on the ice during storms, always in the same stretch of lake during whiteouts, and never once had they found tracks, broken ice, or any sign that a person had been out there. Later that night, lying awake in my room while the wind screamed around the eaves, I kept replaying the moment when the figure had shifted farther out, like something gliding through the layers of snow rather than walking across solid ground. This happened to me on a very cold winter evening. By late afternoon, the sky had already flattened into that heavy pewter color that means snow is on the way. I'd settled in for the evening, lights low, kettle warming, when someone knocked on my front door. 2 soft taps, almost uncertain. I waited, half thinking I'd imagined it, but I know the sound had been too distinct. When I opened the door, no one was there. Only the storm beginning its first sweep across the yard, snowflakes rushing in sideways, stinging my face. I closed the door, brushed the melting flakes from my sweater, and returned to the living room. A faint chill drifted through the house. Strange, since I just checked the windows earlier and everything was latched tight. The air felt occupied, as though someone had slipped inside with the cold. I shrugged it off at first, but as the evening went on, small things kept tugging at my attention. A picture frame on the hallway wall was at a different angle than I remembered. My computer, which I had powered off for the day, hummed faintly for a few seconds. The kettle released one soft, hollow pop long after it should have cooled. None of it was dramatic enough to call unusual on its own, but together they created a faint impression of movement, as if someone were walking slowly through the rooms, not touching anything directly, just affecting the world in small ways. By the time the snow thickened into a full white curtain outside, the feeling had settled into something strange, the sense of shared space. I couldn't see anything, of course. There were no footsteps, no shapes in the corners of my vision, just a quiet awareness, a presence that felt old, tired, and I and it felt oddly relieved to be out of the storm. I made more tea and set 2 cups on the table, partly in jest and partially to be a good host. I let the unused cup of tea sit undisturbed until it cooled, and I swear the house felt calmer for it, less restless. Near midnight, the storm shifted, the wind changed direction, and the pressure in the walls lifted, and the snowfall outside softened into small, lazy spirals again. The atmosphere in the house eased. The subtle tension, the extra presence in the air, dissolved as quietly as it had arrived. The second cup of tea had cooled completely. I straightened the skewed picture frame. By morning, the storm had moved on, leaving deep drifts across the yard and a pale light over everything. The house felt empty in a way it hadn't the night before. Peaceful, but also a touch forlorn, as if whoever had been there had simply stepped back out into the snow. I still don't know who had knocked. I only know that something came inside with the storm and then departed as the weather cleared. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening, so thank you for joining me in the candlelight. Tonight, as I work, I have with me snowflake obsidian. If you aren't familiar with this stone, it is a black, dark stone with little white flecks that look like melting snowflakes. Snowflake obsidian is great to help ease through negative emotions and work through any kind of emotional grief or struggles you might have. And it also offers a level of safety and protection against negative influences. That's snowflake obsidian. Okay, I'm gonna clear my mind, open the space for a spirit to come close for someone listening right now. Tonight, I feel the presence of someone's father. He's wearing a fleece. It's one of those half zipper fleeces. It's kind of a pullover. And he has this easygoing personality. I wouldn't call him like a jokester or someone who is like really comedic, but he's easygoing enough that it feels like things could easily make him chuckle a bit. He's sharing with me a memory of fixing your bike together. I'm hearing like a wrench with it, the kind that like a socket wrench. I can hear like a socket wrench and a tire spinning. Putting baseball cards on the spokes of your wheels to make that cool sound that kids used to do. And you and him walking with the dog. He seems like what you would think of as the perfect dad. You know what I mean? It feels like he was home a lot, like he retired early, and he really loved to focus on the household. And you have so many great memories. I think perhaps he was in the military because he's sharing with me that he did used to travel a little bit. What is his message for you tonight? He loves seeing you successful, and it really means a lot to him that you have that stability in life. I feel like this was something that he stressed the importance of while raising you. And he's really proud and happy that you have that stability in life. And he's kind of laughing that you're like him. You juggle a lot, but you seem to have the energy to do it. He's coming in just to say hello and that he's still here and he loves you and he loves watching over your family. I feel like your kids are a little bit aware of that. And whenever you laugh and tell a story about him, it draws him close. He wants to say he loves you and to take this time this year to focus on creating the calm quiet and enjoying time with family. And he's always near. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this message finds you well and that it strengthens that connection between the two of you and your family. Thank you. This year, when you're at another boring holiday gathering, make sure to turn to the person next to you and ask, "Hey, do you know any good ghost stories?" And then share the I Talk to Ghosts podcast with them. No more awkward silences trying to figure out what to say, what to talk about. Talk about ghosts. Talk about spirit readings. Share the I Talk to Ghosts podcast. Thank you and happy spooky holidays. And with that, dear listener, we have reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you enjoyed my spirit work this evening, and did you catch a bit of a chill after those winter storm ghost stories? Make sure to brew yourself a warm drink tonight to push back that chill. And wherever you happen to wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.